This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Thursday, the 28th day of May in the year 2020. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here is what we're tracking tonight. At a high-level virtual meeting examining the impact of the coronavirus on small states, President David Granger called for extraordinary financing to be made available to assist small states to fight the pandemic and address issues during their recovery. The president told the UN and other world leaders that the multidimensional nature of the impact of the disease is the main reason behind his call for extraordinary financing for small states.
We are obliged to respond to the urgent, unavoidable, and unanticipated effects of COVID-19. The public health sectors require costly and necessary assets. The expanded all-of-economy response will overwhelm small economies in the absence of concessional resource availability. We recognize that given the multidimensional nature of the impact of COVID-19, extraordinary financing must be directed to support small states. And we recommend three ways. First, respond immediately to the life-saving exigencies of the pandemic. Second, to develop holistic long-term recovery plans and exit strategies. And third, to build capacity to establish permanent public health structures to prepare for future international diseases, such as we've seen over the last decade: chikungunya, MERS, SARS, and Zika.
Guyana has recorded more than 135 cases of the coronavirus, with more than 60 of those cases still active. The president said as a country that shares borders with some of the hardest hit countries, Guyana now has to prepare and deal with possible migration from those countries.
Guyana, one of the smallest states on the continent of South America, borders countries which have a high incidence of COVID-19. Migrants seek refuge, enter our territory in areas which necessitate the delivery of effective health services over long distances and to remote settlements. These factors impact the state's ability to protect its people from disease and to earn revenue to maintain its economy.
President Granger explained to the United Nations that in the medium and long term, small states must build capacity to respond effectively and efficiently when faced with health crises, which are predicted to occur more frequently in the future. The president pointed to the food security and the sustained agriculture, manufacturing and services sector as areas that could be seen as having long-term measures in place. However, he said in the short term, countries have to respond to the urgent, unavoidable and unanticipated effects of COVID-19.
Guyana is a small developing state whose many challenges have been compounded by its need to combat COVID-19 pandemic. Small states need structured and sturdy systems to save lives and support livelihoods. In the medium and long terms, we must build capacity to respond effectively and efficiently when faced with health crises which are predicted to occur more frequently in the future. In the long term, we must achieve food security by sustaining agriculture, manufacturing and services, so that when our economy reopens, our public and private sectors will be capable of rapid production and progress.
Already, the regional body CARICOM has been putting together plans of its own to deal with the long-term effects of the coronavirus on the region. Many Caribbean states that depend heavily on the tourism sector are already seeing the economic impact of the virus. CARICOM ministers and officials have been working on reopening strategies that they hope will mitigate some of the suspected effects. More news coming up in a moment.
We all want to stay in touch, right? Now, even more than ever before. So to keep your connection strong, GTT is going 2 for 2. Combine GTT mobile and home internet services and we'll give you 2 gigs of free mobile data each month. With 2 GTT services, you're fully connected at home and on the go. Visit us online at gtt.co.gy/2for2 to learn more and start doing more with 2 for 2 from GTT. Stay safe, stay strong, Guyana. We're in this together.
GBTI is your Guyanese bank, a bank that understands every customer's unique needs, opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. At GBTI, we see you for you. Whether you're buying a new home or car, planning your next vacation or retirement, saving for your child's future, or whether you're ready to take that bold step of investing in your dream business idea, we are with you every step of the way. We hear your stories and watch you focus on your dreams as we share your aspirations. We are more than just banking. We are a family. We are part of your community. Our commitment extends way beyond the walls of our branches and is demonstrated every day in the opportunities we provide to our individual and business customers. The support, time, and commitment we give back to communities across Guyana to help improve the lives of our Guyanese families. Because we see Guyana through your eyes. Parents and guardians, you are encouraged to tune in to the Guyana Learning Channel, Cable 29 or Channel 42 for daily educational and interactive learning sessions. The nursery program airs from 6 hours to 9 hours. Primary programs from 9 hours to 12 noon. We also air informative documentaries from 12 noon to 13 hours, and our secondary level programs are aired from 13 hours to 15 hours. Please continue to listen to our radio broadcasts. The interactive radio instruction for grades 1 to 3 daily on Voice of Guyana from 9 hours 30 to 10 hours for grade 1 pupils, from 10 hours 30 to 11 hours for grade 2s, and 13 hours to 13 hours 30 for grade 3 pupils. Please remember to tune in to benefit from these educational opportunities. A message from the Ministry of Education.
Anyone who believes he or she was exposed to coronavirus COVID-19 must stay at home and not mix with other family members. This quarantine is to help stop the spread of the virus at home and in our communities. While at home for 14 days or 2 weeks, here are some valuable tips you must follow. First, get a separate room which family members will not be allowed to enter during those 14 days of quarantine. Ensure this room allows you to get lots of fresh air. Second, if you must meet family members, stay at least 1 meter or 3 feet away from them. Third, when it comes to personal hygiene, other members of the household should use a separate bathroom. If you must share a bathroom, ensure you always clean the taps, doorknobs, and all utensils with soap and running water. Fourth, limit the number of visitors to your home. Anyone in quarantine must not meet and greet any visitor. Fifth, practice frequent hand washing with soap and running water. Wash your hands for at least 20 seconds every time. If there are no soap and running water, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer with at least 75% alcohol. Sixth, always avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth with unwashed hands. Seventh, after using face masks or gloves, always throw them away. Put them in bins with covers. Remember also to always use separate plates, drinking glasses, cups, and other eating utensils, towels, bedding, and other items for the family member who is in quarantine. And don't forget to use detergents every time to wash all utensils, bed linen, and clothes used by the person in quarantine. Please remember to use the thermometer, not the back of your hands, to monitor the body temperature of the quarantined family member. Monitor them 2 times every day. Be sure to write down the temperature. If he or she develops a fever or temperature above 37.5 degrees Celsius or 99.5 degrees Fahrenheit, cough or has difficulty breathing, sore throat, body aches and pain, immediately call the COVID-19 hotline by dialing 180 or 181. Protect yourself and others. Play your part in helping to reduce the risk of contracting or spreading COVID-19. This is a message from the Ministry of Public Health in collaboration with PAHO WHO. For more information, kindly visit the Ministry's website www.health.gov.gy or its Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter pages.
Welcome back. Well, one day after the government released detailed requirements for those stranded Guyanese nationals seeking to return home, the Private Sector Commission is requesting that some exemptions be made to allow the smooth return of the citizens. In a letter to the COVID-19 Task Force, the Private Sector Commission is requesting that those persons who test negative for the coronavirus not be made to face mandatory quarantine upon their return. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in a document for the repatriation of Guyanese nationals, has indicated that a negative result does not mean persons citizens will not have to face quarantine. They can choose to be quarantined for 14 days at a government facility or at one of 2 hotels that have been designated quarantine sites. They would have to stand the cost for the hotel quarantine. The PSC in its letter believes that once the test result is provided 2 days before the arrival of the persons and they are screened before leaving their present location and tested and screened upon arrival in Guyana, they should be allowed to go home or to be quarantined at home. The private sector body said it welcomes the decision by the government to allow the stranded nationals to return home, but it would like to see convenient measures be employed to address those who are coming back home. While some of the persons abroad have indicated that they have no problem with the 14-day quarantine, others believe they should be allowed to go home as long as they have a negative result. The government has already granted approval for the return of 300 nationals who are stranded abroad. Many of the citizens now face the difficulty of getting flight arrangements in place, as airlines that usually operate flights to Guyana have not restarted those operations as the airports remain closed to scheduled passenger flights. Additionally, some stranded citizens have expressed concern about the cost and difficulty attached to getting the COVID-19 test done in the countries where they are stranded at the moment. Well, the Public Health Ministry has announced that Guyana has recorded 11 new cases of the coronavirus disease in the past 24 hours. The new cases take to 150 the number of total confirmed cases, with 72 of those confirmed cases still active. A total of 67 persons have recovered, with the number of deaths remaining at 11. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Shamdev Prasad said persons need to still call the COVID-19 hotline if they have signs or symptoms of the disease. More than 35% of the persons tested positive in Guyana had no symptoms. During his daily update today, the Chief Medical Officer said he's also concerned about acts of discrimination against persons who may have tested positive for the coronavirus or who may have relatives that might have tested positive.
We continue to plead with residents to call the hotline if you present any sign or symptoms consistent with the coronavirus disease. We have received reports of acts of discrimination in some of the sub-districts. We ask in this crisis that instead of shunning your fellow citizens, that you use this opportunity to come together as one and be tolerant. Residents of the communities in Region 1, the worst scenario will be your refusal to cooperate with the medical authority and the guidelines. This fight is for everyone, and so I ask you to act responsibly. If a death occurs, then you should support the bereaved family. If someone recovers, you should reach out and give your total support. This brings me to testing procedures and the use of our mobile units. As you know, in order to effectively uncover those who would have come in contact with a confirmed case, the Ministry of Public Health has instituted 2 permanent sites in Region Number 4. Region Number 6, the site is set up and running at Port Morant, and in Region Number 10, the Upper Demerara Hospital, that's the Wismar Hospital, is ready.
And the Public Health Ministry has also moved to set up permanent testing sites in Regions 6 and 10. And Dr. Prasad also called on persons to cooperate with the medical personnel during testing.
Another aspect that I wish to touch on is our sample collection. I understand that this process is somewhat uncomfortable. However, we beg you to cooperate despite the discomfort. You will appreciate that if the process is not performed accurately and the sample is insufficient, we can have the wrong result. So we ask all of you to give the testing team your full cooperation.
There is growing concern this evening about a situation in Guyana's bordering regions with Brazil and Venezuela. Although the numbers in some of those regions remain low, the health officials are worried about the possible increase in imported cases, as some persons seek to cross over into Guyana at illegal crossings. Well, the People's Progressive Party this evening threatened that the Guyana Elections Commission could face court action if it makes any move to investigate the claims that votes were cast for persons who died and persons who were out of the country on the 2nd of March during the elections. PPP candidate and attorney Anil Nandlal told reporters outside the Arthur Chung Convention Center this evening that any move by GCOM to investigate the claims being made during the recount would be illegal and the court will stop it.
No, it will not be permitted to go ahead with that.
No, but if it happens...
No, it will not happen.
The chair has said...
No, the court will stop it. The court will stop it if it embarks upon an excess... Look, anytime the commission acts outside of its legal powers, the court will be there to correct it.
But allow me to complete, sir.
Which part of what I said?
But allow me to complete, sir.
You're not making sense.
If the commission goes ahead with this, if the commission goes ahead with this, and it is found indeed that at least one person, or two, or maybe 100, voted via illegal means, what would the people say? Would they call that electoral fraud?
Madam, as I said to you, the PPP has nothing to hide.
The APNU-AFC coalition has been making objections to a number of votes during the recount and has been claiming that votes were cast for persons who died and persons who were out of the country on elections day. The coalition has promised to provide the Elections Commission with evidence to support its claims, including death certificates and possible travel records. But Mr. Nandlal maintains that such issues would be best dealt with in an election petition and not by the commission. The coalition has argued that as part of the recount of votes, the Elections Commission has set credibility as part of the order, and therefore it believes that GCOM must probe the claims if it wants to establish credibility or the lack thereof. While the Guyana Elections Commission is still to make a final decision on the extension of the timeline for the recount of votes. The 25-day timeline that GCOM set itself for the recount will expire in 2 days. The commission met today, but the meeting ended with no decision being made. News source understands that the commissioners discussed the amendment of the gazetted order to cater for the recount. There is a proposal for the recount to be extended by 17 days, taking the new timeline to the 16th of June. Some commissioners are said to be still studying that 17-day extension proposal. The People's Progressive Party Civic today expressed its discomfort with a 17-day extension. The party's presidential candidate Irfan Ali said such an extension is simply too long.
Because we believe that this time frame is too long and should be cut down. If we continue to do an average, yesterday we did 92 boxes. If we continue to do an average of 80 boxes per day, then it will take us 12 days to complete this exercise. A maximum of 12 days to complete the recount exercise. The 16th of June and the remaining days in this month gives GCOM 20 days to a declaration. So if we take 12 days to complete the recount, why is it GCOM need 8 days to have the declaration?
The extension reportedly caters for the completion of the recount and the tabulation, as well as the preparation of reports that will have to be handed into the Commission for its perusal before a declaration of the results is made. Today, the Commission wrapped up the recount for 2 other regions and started the recount for Region 10. Region 4 has been allocated an extra workstation for its recount, taking the total number of stations for the recount of District 4 up to 4. It is likely that as the recount for other regions is completed, those stations will be dedicated to District 4, which is the largest voting region and has the most ballot boxes. On the police blotter, a mid-morning accident at Liliandal on the east coast of Demerara has claimed the life of a 20-year-old Luzicnan woman. The dead young woman has been identified as Sabita Suku. She was one of the passengers in the Route 44 minibus that was involved in the accident with a sport utility vehicle. At least 3 other persons are hospitalized with serious injuries. The minibus driver claimed that he had just stopped his bus to pick up passengers when the RAV4 slammed into it, resulting in the bus toppling several times. But the driver of the The other vehicle told investigators that a bus did not stop and had pulled over into his lane suddenly when he crashed into it despite his efforts to swerve. He said the minibus was still moving and not parked when the accident occurred. Both men are assisting the investigators. Across the region is coming up next.
Wondering how you can access free learning materials for your children? Parents and guardians, please visit the Ministry of Education's website at www.education.gov.gy to access textbooks, past papers, and practice tests to keep your child engaged in continuous learning. When you have accessed the site, go to the Students tab, wait for a second, and choose the appropriate option. You now have access to the resources you need. You are encouraged to take advantage of this opportunity as we strive to provide the best education for the nation's children. A message from the Ministry of Education.
They've made a positive impact on the heavy-duty transportation industry in Guyana since they've arrived. Guyanese are amazed at their power, durability, efficiency, and superior handling capabilities. These are brand new trucks, manufactured in partnership with German, Italian, and French companies. They have a powerful reputation for operating under very adverse Guyanese conditions and come with full after-sales service and spare parts. They're the most sought-after trucks today, with over 500 units in Guyana, and they're available in over 100 countries, including South America and the Caribbean. Be smart. Buy brand new ST Howo trucks today. Call 608-4998 and arrange for an inspection at ST Truck Guyana Incorporated, Block B, Public Road, Covenant, East Bank, Demerara.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right. Walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about, and ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
Falls, a trademark of China's Zhanghao Incorporated, located at Land of Cane in East Bank, Demerara, was incorporated in April of 2013, with over $10 billion Guyana dollars invested in a state-of-the-art 100,000 barrel fuel storage facility, a modern service station, an office complex, and a modern wharf that can berth international vessels. Having no association with any other fuel company, Falls imports its own fuel, which meets quality specifications, has all the legal permits, and is in compliance with international requirements. Its bulk facility can load 8 trucks simultaneously at a rate of 1,000 liters per minute, while the service station can service 12 cars at a time using computerized fuel pumps, which can facilitate the use of ATM cards. Through its professional team of mostly Guyanese, Falls wholesales and retails fuels to the public, including farmers and miners, and will continue to positively contribute to Guyana by providing quality products, service, and attractive prices. Try Falls today for all your fuel needs.
The following is an important message from the Ministry of Public Health. You can prevent the spread of the COVID-19 virus. If you have the following symptoms: coughing, fever, or difficulty breathing, please stay home. If you don't have these symptoms, then practice social distancing. Avoid crowds. When in a group, keep a distance of at least 3 feet between yourself and other persons. Please wash your hands with soap regularly or use hand sanitizers. The Ministry of Public Health has a hotline to provide information on the coronavirus. Members of the public can call 227-4986 or 624-3067.
Across the region right now, one of the region's public health authorities has warned that rapid testing kits are not the best way to diagnose COVID-19 cases and should only be used under certain circumstances. Speaking during the second in a series of webinars put on by the Caribbean Tourism Organization in light of the pending hurricane season and the ongoing pandemic, the Director of Vector Control Surveillance with the Caribbean Public Health Agency, Dr. Laurelie Boudram, said CARFA does not recommend any rapid testing in general for COVID-19, as it will not give you the results that you really need in the acute phase of the infection. She said the organization officially recognized the PCR test as the gold standard for diagnosis of COVID-19. But since a number of rapid testing kits have been developed in recent times, CARFA has published a series of guidelines on how and when those tests should be used. Still in the region, coronavirus cases have been rising sharply in many Latin American countries, and health authorities there say it's now the epicenter of the global pandemic. Brazil has more than 410,000 confirmed cases, the second highest in the world. Other countries in the region, including Mexico, Chile, and Peru, are also struggling to contain major outbreaks. With new confirmed cases in the US and many European countries reporting declining numbers, the trends in Latin America is of great concern. The first confirmed case in Latin America was identified in Brazil back in February, although researchers have said there are now indications that there were cases there as early as January. Coronavirus has since spread to every country in the region. And finally tonight, international news. Police and protesters clashed for a second night last night in the US city of Minneapolis after an unarmed black man died in police custody. The BBC reports that tear gas was fired by the police while protesters threw rocks and sprayed graffiti. Businesses were also looted. The 46-year-old man, George Floyd, died on Monday, and video showed him gasping for breath as a white policeman knelt on his neck. 4 police officers have been fired, with the mayor saying that being black should not be a death sentence. The renewed clashes yesterday came just hours after the city's mayor called for criminal charges to be brought against a policeman who was filmed holding Mr. Floyd down. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.